Maybe thinking about pursuing an MBA, but not sure how, when, or even if it's a good idea. Current Penn students and alumni can absolutely make an appointment and handshake with a career services advisor, but I wanted to answer a few of the more general questions that we get here. First off, what is an MBA? An MBA is a Master's of Business Administration, and it's a generalist advanced business degree that covers areas like finance, accounting, marketing, and others. It's really helpful in a lot of different industries, those that you might think about, like consulting or finance, but certainly those that you might not think about as readily, such as healthcare or nonprofits or startups. I'm often asked what kind of qualities business schools seek in applicants, and do you need an undergraduate business degree to apply for the MBA? The answer to that is definitely no. Uh, MBA programs take individuals with all kinds of undergraduate majors. However, they do have some things in common that they tend to look for in applicants. They would like to see a track record of leadership. They'd want to make sure you have some quantitative competency because much of the MBA program is somewhat quantitative. Even if you didn't study a quantitative undergraduate major, if you've had a few courses that you took as an undergrad that were quantitative, they will probably pay attention to those on the transcript. They will also look at your standardized test scores, such as the GMAT or the GRE, to see how you did on the quantitative part of it. They're also typically going to want to make sure that you have relatively good communication skills, and they want to see that you can clearly articulate how an MBA will help you with your short and long-term career goals. There are a lot of different formats available for MBA programs. The first thing I would say that traditionally most MBA programs have wanted individuals to have some work experience before they start taking courses. So typically, most individuals will apply when they've had 2, 3, 4, even 5 years of work experience before they actually start taking classes. Once you take classes, there's a variety of formats as well. Some programs are full-time, so individuals wouldn't typically be working if they're doing that. Some are part-time that allow you to continue working. Some are completely in person, some are completely online, and some are a hybrid of the two. So there's really something for everybody. If you're someone who has a lot of work experience, say even 10 or 20 years, you might want to think about an executive MBA program because those are really geared towards individuals who are mid-career level and who have lots of work experience. They are typically part-time, and typically the folks in those programs will continue to work while they're taking classes. Finally, in the past few years, there's been a kind of an uptick in a new kind of program, which is a deferred admission program. These are programs for students who are usually in seniors in college who know they want to get an MBA, so they apply during spring of senior year typically. Then they defer the admission and they work for 2, 3, or typically 4 years, and then they go and start taking the classes. Really great for people who know as an undergraduate that they want to get an MBA at some point, and they want to kind of get the application out of the way and have their ducks in a row before they start working. If you are someone who went directly to a different kind of master's program after undergrad and you don't have any full-time work experience, you could also be eligible to apply through these deferred programs. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about what the application process looks like. They really do look at your application holistically and value lots of different elements of it. Of course, they're going to want to see a record of strong academic achievement as an undergraduate, but I would say you by no means have to be perfect. If you have a couple of classes that you didn't do as well in as you had hoped, don't let that stop you from applying because the transcript is just one part of the application. They're also going to want you to take either the GMAT, which is the Graduate Management Admission Council test, or the Graduate Record Exam, which is the GRE. Both of these exams will look at your verbal, your quantitative, and your writing abilities. And most MBA programs don't prefer one over the other. So you might want to take a practice test with both to see how you do and what you naturally feel more comfortable with. Most the scores are good for 5 years for either of them, so lots of students that I talk to will take it senior year or shortly after graduation from undergraduate to have it out of the way, and then they can apply when they're ready after working for a few years. In addition to the test scores and the undergraduate transcript, Schools will typically also want to see one or two essays that are typically pretty brief. They vary by school, so you have to check with each program to see what their specific questions are. Typically, they're going to want a one-page resume and they're going to want two references. If you are someone who's been working and you're applying as an experienced professional, typically those references will be from someone that can evaluate how you are in a work setting, like a supervisor or maybe a colleague or a client. If you are applying through one of the deferred programs and you're a full-time student, in that case, it may be fine to have an academic reference from a professor who knows you well. If you have additional questions, please feel free to make an appointment on Handshake to meet with me or one of my colleagues who works with students applying for MBAs. We would love to meet you in person and discuss your goals. Thank you.